Okay, so I have to say good morning because it is 6 a.m. Bright and early here in Arkansas in the USA. So if you're getting a little bit of sleepy from having your lunch or whatever, I'm envious because it is really early for us here in Arkansas, USA. So as he mentioned, my name's Jeff Turnbow, and I've been in the marketing industry now for over 20 years. And I love the topic of paid search because this is kind of the area that I've been focused on of all the other areas of marketing. I've been doing paid search probably 15, 17 years. So it's something that's really special to me and has been kind of a key or foundation for most of my clients that I've been working with over the years. And I really enjoy Digimarcon. Obviously, it's a little bit different because we're now in this little screen, but I can't wait to get back on the road and walk across the stage and really interact with people at the conferences because it's so totally different when you're just right here in front of this little camera inside your office, inside your shell, if you will. So hopefully everyone's awake and ready to talk about paid search marketing. First thing I want to tell you to do is everyone just kind of relax, count to 10. Advertising's not dying. You don't have anything to get crazy fearful about. It's gonna be okay. So just want to put that out there first. And for many of you who are attending this, some of you are going to notice that I'm going to talk about some kind of really core fundamental things, not anything that's super over the top or in depth. But for some of you, then this could be a little bit more of a deeper dive because what I've found over the years, and especially in the past year, is there are still many Fortune 100 companies or many companies out there that who have been using their own Google paid search platforms internally. I'm sorry, going direct to Google for their paid search, organizing all of their keywords, managing all of their keywords. They've been doing a lot of this in house with very little systems or any type of major platforms being used. So I realize that. So I'm going to speak to a lot of those people who are watching, and as well to the ones who have been using some sophisticated platforms as well over the past. So should be able to reach all of you, and hopefully you'll get some nuggets from this that will be beneficial to all of you who are interested in paid search. So how do you choose a top five, right? I mean, there's so much going on in this industry right now, and there's so many layers to search, and we could really just dig into it for days, right? Because it can be really complex, and everyone's concerned about privacy and cookies and all of these different things that are happening. So the one thing I want to do to make everyone a little bit more assured right now is, the core fundamentals of marketing haven't changed. So keep that in mind. This is a time where really the marketers and the advertisers kind of separate themselves. But if you've got experience in the realm of marketing, these changes are not going to be as frightening and scary as it is for some who are maybe just beginning or just trying to figure things out or reading all of these different blogs where everybody's like freaking out about all the changes taking place. So I'll speak a little bit to that, but what I really want to talk about basically is top five would be talking about responsive search ads, using more AI or less AI in PPC, along with smarter bidding. Obviously, we have to talk about voice search. I'm going to also talk about quality score because quality score is very relevant still. And then also talk about first party data. So we're going to kind of get into that right now. So kind of circa 2016, where everyone's basically writing their own ad copy, expanded text ads, basically allowed your ad copy to be organized into basic three headlines, two descriptions, anchored into place. Very, very basic stuff. And then came along responsive search ads. So they look a lot like the ETAs on the search engine page, but they're built different. So you get many different variations. You get to place these variations so that when customers are searching online, then certain matches happen, which allow your ads to appear more relevant. And that's really important because as we go through all these changes that are happening in cookies and data and things that we think we're being isolated from, or things that we think are negative, we have to, good marketers look for the positive in the negative atmosphere. And so what we have to realize is the issue of relevance still the same. Google still wants to do what it's always done, which is serve the ads that meet the needs best of those who are searching. Facebook, same thing. So their goals are still in line with our goals, and that's something very important to keep in mind. So there's different when you're talking about responsive search ads in action. Basically, you would kind of break it down into your ad assets would be like your headlines. You could have like 3 to 15. And then for descriptions, 2 to 4 descriptions plus your URL. And this would all go into Google's machine learning technology. And then when someone would make a search online, those responsive search ads would basically show up and look more relevant to those who are searching. The way it would look basically to the viewer is as if they had a direct match. So this is an example here of someone who typed in dog daycare, and then as you can see, the ad matched the dog daycare keywords, but then added something that was relevant for them at that time, which was best dog daycare in Malden, happy dog, happy wallet. So you can see how the responsive search ads worked during that time. The first thing that's important for everyone who's using, especially if you're working direct with Google, is to understand what you're running right now. So you want to look into your systems, make sure that you're building out the new RSAs, and also keep in mind that there aren't the way to go when it comes to paid search ad types in Google. For example, call ads, dynamic ads, all very important to keep in mind when you're building these out yourself. Now, I want to go right into smart bidding because smart bidding for me, goes back a very long time. In fact, on the next slide, which I probably should have advanced first, I consider I've been doing smart bidding for over 15 years. So back, about 17 years ago, I started working with partnering with a company with my agency at that time. Reach Local was the first company to actually build out a proprietary system of conversion-based optimization. And what I've been really surprised to learn is that 15, 17 years later, I work with or I meet with clients almost on a daily basis, and they have search teams that have not used these systems, or some of them haven't heard of them, but they are definitely still out there. And so what I would recommend is, if you're not using a smart bidding platform, definitely invest in that, and it'll make your life so much better. So what I mean by smarter bidding, so there's lots of different ways you can define smarter bidding. First of all, day parting obviously schedules your ads to appear certain times of the day. Geolocation shows your ads in certain specific places. You can do smart bidding based on your KPIs. Also, you can do smart bidding based on any of your learned customer journeys, which is very, very important. And then also demographics and lookalikes. So what can this do for you? How does this help you? Well, first of all, it helps to optimize the keywords and ads after an event maybe that you've had. Also for cost per click, or If you're falling below a certain amount, it helps optimize those keywords to bring those back up. Also, it can determine the performance of your ads in relation to your quality score. So you can look to see which keywords are working best with your website based on your quality score. We'll talk a little bit more about that in that segment. Also, it helps to analyze the bids that are most likely to achieve the maximum traffic, so the overall traffic coming into the website. Smart bidding also helps you predict the click-through rates for future ads, and obviously enhance your PPC campaigns. And then also it helps determine how user-friendly and relevant the landing page or landing source is for that searcher. In essence, load times, keywords, how basically relevant the content is for your audience, and can help you in optimizing your website or with your landing page. Now, we obviously can't talk about search without talking about voice search, because obviously you can see there's voice search is just built into our everyday lives, and it's something. It was so fun that we talked about this, I think, 3 years ago at Digimarcon as an emerging trend that we need to get on right now. And wow, has that like blown up? So yes, it's everywhere. In fact, I got to be careful how I talk, or I'll actually turn on some voice devices in the room here. So we're all using voice devices, whether we're in our cars, on our watch, or wherever we're at. And some of us are still lagging in this area because we haven't realized how important and dynamic this market or this segment is. Just to show you kind of where this is going, in 2020. 30% of web browsing was screenless. So this obviously created a shift in how we're advertising. By 2022, over 55% of households are expected to own a smart speaker device. So just to kind of break this down, I looked up for an office the other day, I looked up an Amazon Echo. It was $28, I think, on Amazon. So all of these prices are coming down on all these smart devices, and then also more smart voice search devices are being offered to the public. So obviously, more and more people are going to be using this. What's kind of interesting is if you kind of dig down into the data a little bit, you see that 65% of 25 to 49-year-olds are talking or speaking to their devices at least once a day. And that's an important demographic, obviously, for most of us who have customers. So they're most likely to perform daily voice searches, and then also followed by the younger segment, the 18 to 24-year-olds, and then, of course, 50 and up in that area. So the 25 to 49-year-olds are the most active searchers, and the 18 to 24 are actually driving it. So that just kind of makes sense if you think about it in a household. You have your teens or those, maybe from college, who are purchasing these gifts for their parents, or starting to be the early adopters and spread the information out to the other segments. What's also interesting is about 20% of all the voice queries are triggered by a specific or kind of focused core 20 to 25 keywords. And if you think about how you use your devices, this really makes sense. So many of the searches that are happening often start with how do I do this? Or what is this? Or where's the best Italian restaurant? Or what's the easy way to fix whatever? So it's kind of interesting to just source and search for the voice queries that are most used in your industry, in your specific geolocation, because then you can apply those to how you build out your keywords and how those will affect your performance. So when it comes to voice, what do people typically do? Well, I think that's pretty obvious. When you're using voice, you want to avoid typing as much as possible. So the next step that people are taking after using voice is they're just basically calling the business, or they're visiting the business website, or they're visiting the location. And this, I think, is just goes without saying, because if you're using a device, you're trying to be as hands-free as possible. So phone calls, obviously, and then also visiting the website are going to appear at the top of that. Just something to point out here, a lot clients in the service industry or clients who have call centers, when you're looking at conversion activity, um, phone calls convert at a 10 to 15% more revenue than typical web leads. So if it's an if-then situation, in terms of if you're having to narrow down how many conversions you're actually tracking, then obviously you want to put that energy into the phone calls, because that's going to create more revenue for the business. Now, I want to talk a little bit about quality score. So, when we talk about quality score, there's a lot of different opinions out there about quality score, if it's still relevant, or is it still significant? I've been doing search now for over, like I said, over 15 years. I believe it's incredibly relevant. It goes with the natural, organic mission of Google, Facebook, and others. So I want to just basically talk about that for a little bit, because there's still, I meet with people every day that don't understand quality score, or they're not using it. It's not a significant piece of the puzzle. So basically, when we're talking about quality score, you have two different graphics on your screen, and they both kind of say the same thing. They just say it a little bit differently. So we're talking about ad rank, which is kind of your best combined cost per click bid with the quality score of your page. And then we're looking at the maximum bid that you want to pay for the keywords. And so when you put those two together, you can see in the other example, it's really just boiling that down to how that keyword is relevant to the ad and to your website. It's also matching that with the customer experience, and that's giving you obviously a quality score. So how can you increase your quality score when it comes to paid search? So obviously using RSAs, long tail keywords, doing more research into what's actually converting on your site is going to obviously help increase that quality score. Being better at organizing keywords, and being better at, if you're using smart bidding, going in and looking and seeing which keywords are not only performing based on maybe data, but actual conversion activity. So splitting those into a more tight, organized groups so they can be more effective when they're tied to your ad campaigns. Also refining, sifting and refining is so critically important. Testing your ad copy, A/B testing. There's still many people that aren't doing that. But learning which is the best ad copy and which are the best experiences that your customers are clicking, and that will help improve the quality score as well. And then also, it just typically goes without saying, but it needs to be stated more and more, that as we're building out these sites and pages, we have to keep in mind that what Google, Facebook, what all of these different medias want to do is match relevance. They want to give what the people are searching for. So we have to really be concerned and cognizant that we're still creating relevant pages and content that matches with the ad campaigns and the conversion goals that we have. And then, of course, making sure that you're staying on top of negative keywords, because those can make a significant difference in your quality score as well. And watch what you're bidding on. I have a lot of people that are still bidding on competition or competitors, and driving up or driving down their quality score, which is driving up their cost per click. So keep that in mind. What we found, and what I still find to this day, is quality score is affecting your efficiency. It affects your cost. And you can see kind of a breakdown here of the benchmark of a quality score of 5. And then you can see that if you increase that to a 6, then you've increased it by 17% in terms of your savings. If you could increase that to 9, to 8 or 9, then you're looking at 37 to 44% increase in your efficiencies and your cost. And as you know, that's super important when it comes to managing your marketing campaigns. If you want to check your score, if you haven't done that already, then I highly recommend it. I've placed a URL here on the page, but you can obviously Google that. But it's something definitely important to do. Dive into your search platforms and look to see how your keywords are matching and what the quality score is, so that you can get a better idea if that keyword, it may be performing well, but it may be costing you a lot simply because the quality score isn't in line. Something else wanted to let you guys know about. You can reach out to me at any time. You can reach out to me at the winninglocal.com website. We have something I can send out to you, finding out the secrets behind ads with a 3 times average click-through rate. So if you're looking for how quality score can affect your business, we can send you more data on that. Cookies. I wish I had a cookie right now. But so this is something that's the top of every marketer out there. It's something that we're all facing right now, and there's all kinds of data information out there. What's going to happen? What if this? What if that? So basically, what everyone's trying to do is just create more privacy, better experience for users out there. I don't really see anything wrong with what's happening. I definitely want some protection when I'm surfing online. So I think the key thing here to remember is that while all of this is happening, like I said earlier in the intro, for those that didn't hear me, the core fundamentals of marketing are still in place, and the tactics that we have and the tools that we have are endless. So there's all different types of ways that we can combat changes that happen within our industry and move forward and still be able to progress and get the results that we want. Probably the best thing that I can talk about during this is so many companies still are not getting enough first party data. They've been relying so much and so heavily on third party data that they've kind of neglected their own data. And this is really a time to really dig your heels in and really start developing tools and systems to collect even more first party data than you never collected before. And I just want to kind of go through this because this kind of can give you some examples of how to use this better. Collecting all of your data all in one source. There are different tools or different software systems that are out there that does this for you. So while you're collecting data in different spots on your website and you're still tracking down all of that data from maybe different vendors or different resources, you can centralize that, and all of that can be within one place and easier for you to use. And that information is so incredibly important. Even more important than the third-party data, because this is how people are actually experiencing your marketing and actually converting on your site. Creating more customized experiences and collection points along the journey of your own website and your own marketing. So whatever you're doing out there, just think more about, okay, what's something we could do at this point to collect first party data about this. Start looking into different tools of sampling your audiences along the journey and getting them to give you more feedback along the way. And just like I mentioned earlier, sync that reliable data together. There's plenty of different resources out there that'll help you do that. And you can still use third-party data. You can still obviously see what's going on with audiences out there. Use it more as a resource, and then marry that together with the first party data that you've started collecting. So what does that look like? So, really find ways to get more personal data into your systems. Whether that's someone that lands on your website and you offer that 10% discount if they just plug in their email address. Email addresses and phone numbers are going to become extremely important because those are ways that we're learning to do even better retargeting, especially with the third party loss of data out there. So collecting that email address, phone number, along the way, if there's a way for you to determine or have them to enter their gender or occupation, um, nationality, these are all different personal data collections that you can start integrating into your site and into your traffic points, which will really give you some really good firsthand data. Engagement data, looking at how people are engaging with your social media pages. How are they engaging with your website? How many, spend a little bit more time looking at time on site and how many pages they're looking at and the traffic flow on your site. This is, again, first party data. And then measuring attitudes towards your products and services, surveys, email surveys, text surveys, any of those automated surveys going out can really provide you with really good first party data that you can use towards your marketing goals. Looking at behavioral, so asking your customers, a little bit about their purchase history. If they're purchasing a vehicle from you, well, what's the last vehicle they purchased? Or what's the other two vehicles they considered before making a purchase through your company? So this is data that you can collect directly from your CRM, and customers will provide this data, especially if you offer them some sort of incentive, small incentive just for doing this. Then, of course, there's market research. Again, going back to just the core fundamentals of just doing good old-fashioned market research about your customers. And that can be done a lot of times face-to-face. It can be done through surveys or prototype testing. But again, you're going back to collecting this data for yourself, and it's true first-party data. And then, of course, there are other data sources that you can use to integrate into this overall strategy. So again, just kind of defining it: first party, second party, and third. You're obviously collecting it firsthand. You're collecting that data directly. Also, second party data would be more that's shared through a trusted partner resource. And then third party is obviously aggregated data. When you're thinking about data, again, if you just go back again to the core fundamentals and the foundations of marketing, then your data really should be trying to solve a pain point. And we need to make sure that when we're measuring all of this data and we're measuring all of our systems and all of our conversions, are we actually doing this in a way that solves a pain point for our customers? Because just collecting and analyzing data for the sake of looking at only conversions is really not a good strategy. For example, are we solving a financial pain point with our data collection? Are we increasing productivity? Are we being more efficient in the process? And are we providing better support, better quality support? Those should all be integrated into our thinking of how we look at data. If you look at an example of how this could look, especially with first-party data, if you're just sending a simple screenshot or or survey out to your audience, and you're just asking them, let's say that you're a booking site, whether it's like a VRBO or maybe a hotel booking site. This one little answer here can give you so much information, and it's again first party. So you want to know how the booking process is going. 74% says it's going great. So all you're really wanting to do there is enhance that a little bit. But let's say that 40% found it terrible. Then you obviously want to go back and use conversion methods on your site to enhance that booking process. So just as much as we're worried and concerned about how our ads are performing, we need to be more concerned about the ads that we have and how they're actually converting and creating a better user experience when they're actually on our sites. It's extremely important because the service and the experience of the site uh, has been shown to enhance how much people are willing to pay. And I just found this as a kind of a uh, good tool to show you basically how customer experience affects premium pricing on these specific items, which is really kind of fascinating to look at how much people are going to pay more for coffee if they have a great experience, how much more they're willing to pay for a hotel stay when they have a great experience. If you have a great experience with your physician, how much more likely are you to come back for your visit or pay more for that visit? Um, Purchasing a sports ticket, that's going to determine which site they come back to later. So, a lot of times we're trying to pull people back to our site through retargeting methods, but using customer experience and first party data is equally important because that's where we're really finding out if our marketing is actually making an impact on the purchasing decisions of our customers or prospective customers. The important thing is to look at the data as informing your marketing, not just for KPIs. So you can basically use the customer data that you're gathering for your marketing strategy in two kind of centrally focused ideas. One, obviously, to help drive what kind of marketing content or approach that's best aligning with your customers. And then also it's used as a kind of a barometer on how past marketing campaigns have worked and how effective your marketing campaigns are working. So data is not just to drive KPIs, but use that data for driving customer experience. And I think if more people would focus on that versus just the numerous conversion points and trying to kind of dot all of those in, we would be much better marketers if we're focused more on the experience. Yeah, obviously, 91% of customers more likely to shop from brands that provide them with relevant recommendations and offers. So just kind of goes back to the original point of Google and Facebook and all of these different service providers. They're going to stay on mission. They're going to stay on trying to match the best prospective customer with the site or the source that's simply the most relevant during that experience. So, sorry, somebody's sending me a question here. So I'll definitely try to answer some of those. So again, just kind of to rehash and kind of go back through some of this information. I know a lot of times it's dumping a lot of information on you in a short period of time, and sometimes these things kind of hit and miss as they go by. But I think, in my opinion, what I found is that success is still happening in the areas of paid search. I'm not finding that it's really been damaging to our search campaigns. But again, we've been using conversion-based optimization platforms for over 15 years. So if you haven't been using that kind of strategy or those kinds of platforms, then you're probably noticing some significant differences, especially when it comes to paid search. So I, switched a couple of platforms over the years, but you've got companies like ReachLocal, WordStream, who offer this technology. And since we've been working with them for so long, and they have so much first-party data that we're still able to use that as a reference point. But we've also created our own systems, and you can actually plug in these systems to your own website and take your first-party data and marry that to the past third-party data, and really still be able to design effective paid campaigns that are happening out there. So if you're not doing that, then I would suggest that you start doing that. I think all of this is just encouraging Google and Facebook to get involved in more smart bidding, conversion-based optimization systems. usually was left to third-party companies in the past, and they're pulling this in-house so that people who have been working direct with Google can start to benefit from some of these tools that other companies were offering. So, so I think a lot of the hype about the problems that we're facing needs to simmer down a little bit, because we still have many different tools and systems that we can use. And then obviously focusing on voice search is something that still too many people are not taking advantage of. And then looking at things like quality score. You know, if you're not focused on relevancy, then and too focused on just conversion, that's going to be a problem with your marketing strategy as well. So with that, I'm going to look at a few questions. So iOS and its impact, yeah, it's had a major impact on the industry, but our industry's always been changing. So if you've been in the marketing industry now for 10, 15 years, you've adapted to all different types of changes that are happening in the industry. This is just another change, and within that change, we find solutions that help us, right? So keep in mind that a lot of people are freaking out about Facebook, and they're a lot of people I'm talking to are complaining about their conversion activity, their engagement, all of that. There was a time where you could access, I think it was 26 different conversion points through Facebook, and now you're kind of limited to, I think the number is 8. So if you have more than 8 conversion points on your site, then you're going to need to work with someone who understands how to make that better for you. Installing the Facebook Conversions API, if you haven't done that already. Focusing on custom audiences and lookalikes is even more important than it ever has been. I think the next speaker will probably dive into that a little bit more. Again, just a few other points here that I would just reiterate would be to remember to go ahead and start building out your first party data collection points, and try to get as many of those out there as possible, because you want to look at what your actual customers and your actual prospects are doing and what they're saying about your business during the customer experience. And that's going to give you excellent data to use in how you're designing your paid search campaigns. I guess kind of just to wrap things up, keep in mind that the relevant experience is what Google is concerned about. It's what Facebook is concerned about, matching what people are searching for with relevant products and services. So shifting our thinking a little bit more towards the customer experience versus collection points or data points and KPIs, in my opinion, is a better marketing strategy overall. And it's going to help in many different ways in terms of increasing your customer experience overall through all the different layers of the buying funnel. And so that's, sorry, I'm getting a little bit distracted here. But to me, that's what's most important. So with that said, I think that's pretty much covering everything. Again, thank you so much for attending this event. Hopefully you'll get to attend one in person where we're not so confined to this space, and we can get into much more dynamic presentations with video and different experiences face to face, and pray that everyone stays safe. And with that, I think we can probably wrap this session up.